We are diving right in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey!
Now that I'm back.
The boss is back.
Yes, she is.
Welcome back, Tina.
I'm excited to be here.
Are you?
I am. It's been a couple weeks. We're talking about that. I haven't been on the podcast for a couple weeks, and you guys did an awesome job last week on macros. So
We had lots of prep.
Lots of prep.
I think you said on the podcast that you had no prep, which we're doing. We're kind of doing that again today.
Yeah.
So
We prepped a little bit.
must be our new theme. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what the boss thinks about it.
I do think that my point of view today will be valid. I do think that I'll have some insight to offer.
Yeah, I don't think me and Josh could pull this one off by ourselves.
No.
I do kind of want to know more of your insights about it, just so we can, I think it's important. Nobody knows what we're talking about, but once they do, it'll be important to get another point of view from the other side.
Yeah. Well, since you're back, happy Mother's Day.
Oh, well, thank you.
That just passed.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was lovely. It was a lovely day, and didn't do a lot, but that
Hopefully
was
you
just
were
what I wanted.
spoiled.
Ooh, I don't know about spoiled. It was nice. The kids bought me a gift, so that was nice. A nice surprise, and they're young, so I'm not expecting they did it all on their own.
Oh.
So Bill did not do that.
Good job, Bill. You trained them to do it on their own. Bill, you're winning. I still have to take my kids.
So it was lovely.
So, well, that leads us into the topic that we're going to talk about is, yes, Mother's Day has passed, but we don't want mothers to think that you only get one day of making yourself a priority. And I believe this happens pretty often. I don't know that for sure, but I think a lot of moms out there get one day a year where they would say they feel like they're the number one priority, and other 364 days, maybe they aren't.
Yeah, like every other day is Father's Day, like all 364.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
And we didn't have to have children. And
I'm just kidding. I really am. Moms and dads both work very hard, but it is true that on Mother's Day, the day before, I saw several little Facebook posts going around that were memes of the mom saying, "Oh, my husband told me to get all my work done on Saturday so that I could relax on Sunday." Like things like that. Like it is very, that happens, that we feel that this amount of pressure to have a certain amount of things done. But I think guys feel the same, dads feel the same pressure, but maybe not, and not at the same level.
I think it kind of, when we had our vacation discussion several weeks ago, I think some of it leads into that where we just prioritize and look at things a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. As far as what's important and
so we're going to find out why it is that moms, why does this happen? Like why do all your priorities go to the bottom and everybody else's rise to the top? And what are the actual effects when that happens? Because that's the real kicker is, understanding, I'm going to say that moms do it with the intent of serving everybody else and thinking that that's really the best option. Like, oh, if I take care of everything, if I make sure everybody's doing all this and, and I'll take care of myself later, that's actually the best case scenario for my family, where we would disagree that that's probably one of the worst things that you could do for you and your family. Is that fair?
Yes, that's fair. And I also, I'm going to say the word think, and even though we don't like the word think, but I know from experience that sometimes a mother or, caregiver, whatever, we hide behind the busyness of taking care of others so that it's less reflective on us. And that is not talked about. Okay. And I think that's kind of where the mindset part of this comes in, because ask any mom, she's going to want to be pampered any day of the year. Mother's Day is a special day. It's built up. We do kind of have this expectation that I'm going to wake up and I don't have to do anything. And we know it's not true, but it'd be nice to think that would really happen. And then when it doesn't happen, there could be that letdown of nobody is actually treating me any different or better today. Like some mothers may go through that, or some other, like you said, did you get spoiled? It's like, I actually got to do the things that I enjoy. But I think the underlying theme here really is that we are telling ourselves stories about why we don't have time to keep ourselves a priority.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to everybody else. So let me see if I can maybe say it in a different way too. Mm-hmm. So would you say people are hiding behind, if I just stay busy and keep saying that I'm busy, then I don't even have to think about trying to do all these other things for myself?
Correct. Like, so my
reason for not exercising, instead
Correct.
of me facing it head on, like, it's just out of the picture if I just keep saying I'm too busy. If the
Correct.
story is I'm too busy, exercise can be off the table.
Right. And then and on the flip side of that, then you may see a mother and a family who is, her kids are well taken care of, well fed. She knows exactly what their schedules are, what, where they're going, what they're doing, how they're doing it, when and why, where the calendar is golden. But she's not on the calendar.
Yeah.
She's not on the calendar. And sometimes I would say that we get caught up in I'm just, like you said, I'm too busy. I don't have the time. So everyone else is a priority, and we find joy in that. I find joy in that. I find joy in taking care of my family. It's very valuable. It's a valuable feeling. So you don't want to get rid of that valuable feeling. But I'm wondering if you could shift your mindset to put yourself on the calendar and make yourself a priority just as much as you're making the husband, the children, whoever you're caring for, that you might feel better.
Yeah, you definitely would. And all the people you're taking care of are going to feel better too, because your attitude towards everything is probably going to come off better. You're going to be in a better mood. So when you ask somebody to do something, or while you're running, the look of stress and chaos isn't maybe just all over written on your face. Because I know what a busy, stressed out mom looks like. Mm-hmm. And it's very easy to read and see. I mean, sometimes I see it in Deanna. It's like, I can tell today while you're doing chores that you feel a little bit more stressed than other days when maybe she's had a really good week. Everything has went well. She had her things done. She got all her workouts in, and it's not a big deal to do them, even though she doesn't say anything either way. I can feel a difference.
Sure.
And if you both are married, and your wives both work full time and pretty demanding careers. So you know that when you've asked them before, like, is there anything I can help you with? And
everything's fine.
Yep. And if you do say that, if you notice that and you say, is there anything I can help with? And you're right, everything's fine. I don't need any help. At that moment in time, maybe they don't need your help, but they do probably need that space to go somewhere else. Because right now in their head, they are just replaying over this list of things that they need to do, get done, why it needs to get done. They may even be talking about why you're not helping in their head. Like, there's a full-blown conversation happening. And I would say that is, I feel like I'm speaking to everyone, every lady out here, every mom out here who has ever gotten that stressed out feeling. And really, sometimes we don't want help. But again, that might go back to carrying around a story about, I have to do it all. Mm-hmm. No one else is going to do it if I don't do it.
Yeah. So really the question is, how do we relieve this story? How do we change this story? Mm-hmm. And it comes back to getting mom on the calendar.
Yes.
And, making sure she has just as many things to do for herself as dad does, the kids do, as everybody else does. So that way, it's really a fair crack. And it makes sense to me. And thankfully, I see it, and it's easy for me to say, Deanna, go do this thing. She's talked about trying to go to Vegas for something. I was like, go. Like, I could answer it in 3 seconds. I didn't need to think about it. You want to go? Go. Like, because one, I know she doesn't do enough things, so it's like the more she goes and does them, it's like, okay.
Deanna, book your trip to Vegas. He just said it. I don't know what you're going to Vegas for, but
unfortunately, it's on the back to back to back. We're going for
right.
So it would be gone for several weeks. So she's going to go next year for sure. But I was still fine. I was like, whatever, if that's something you want to do, you should go do it.
I've had a few things I've just had to put on Michelle's calendar.
Well, all of us do that though. We all have things like, if you say, oh, I really want to go on this special trip, or I want to go to a special place, putting it on your calendar, and we talk all the time about making sure you have a plan in place. This is no different for a busy mom. You have got to get yourself on that calendar. If there's something you want to do, if you're not taking any action to do it, it is not going to happen. And that's just the reality of it. And when we get very busy, like I was talking about earlier, getting caught in that mindset of not having time, or not there, I can't because somebody else needs me to do this. It's like, hold on, take a breath and step back and really reframe that question and just be like, how could I get it done? Right? I can't get it done. Well, how could I get it done? And then just keep building on it from there. Can I do this? Can I ask for help? Can I rearrange something, or can I put it in the future? Like maybe the end of school is a terrible time for you to do something, but maybe June presents an opportunity for more time. We're getting ready to change seasons right now. And I know for some people we work with, this is a time where they have more time. And for other people, this is getting ready to pick up and be a crazy, chaotic time.
Yeah.
Summer break's not real.
We should maybe kind of dial it back a little bit. Like we're talking about, hopefully people aren't thinking we're just talking about just like a one trip vacation we need to dive into like, you need to make yourself a priority every single week.
Yes. And that's
every single day.
Yes.
Like where do you make yourself a priority day in and day out? Not just for like a single individual trip, but how do you get 30 minutes a day to yourself, or an hour a day to yourself, to do whatever it is that you want, whether it's exercise, go for a walk, be alone, read, watch a movie. Doesn't matter. Like, how are you prioritizing yourself on a day to day? Not just, I got to go on one trip.
Not this major, not
this big, huge thing, event. But how do I become a priority every single day? Where do I get my time in every single day? So Tina,
yes,
let's ask you that question. You're the mom. Where do you get your time?
So I've been doing this work for a long time now. But there was a time that I was not a priority, and I didn't make myself a priority. I shouldn't say that I wasn't a priority. I didn't make myself a priority, but what I did when I had alone time was I know this is not exactly the answer you're looking for, but just about me, I made really poor choices for self-care. Self-care to me looked like saying yes to myself all the time, around not having boundaries around my nutrition, around sitting down and not moving versus moving. I don't want to say words that make somebody feel like they're not doing enough, but when I had the time to actually go for a walk or go exercise, I came up with an excuse of why I shouldn't. So that for me has been a major mindset shift, to whereas now moving my body is a priority, nutrition is a priority. It didn't happen overnight. It took time. It took years. But I could still be sitting there stuck in that place if I had kept listening to the story in my head on repeat, which was, you don't have enough time. Who at age 34 or 35 just says that this is it? Like, that's it for your life. But I did. Like, that was a story in my head. Like, you're just a mom. You're just a mom. Your job is to take care of your kids, your husband, your family. You don't need to do this. You don't have time for it. It's just too much. And that's where I feel like a lot of people can get stuck really easy, because they don't realize that there's just another story waiting to be told. But if you don't make yourself the priority to get that story changing, you can stay stuck in that place for a long time.
Yeah. And now that you say that, it reminds me of like a post I think I made like a long time ago or last year, when I see this row of cars lined up in front of the grade school to pick up kids. Oh, yeah. And I'm running and I'm like, it is 45 minutes before school gets out, and there's a row of cars with parents just sitting in their car doing nothing, and probably feeling like this is the only 30 minutes I get per day to myself. And like you're saying, that's like, yeah, that's great that you're getting that 30 minutes to yourself, but it's not making them feel any better. They're scrolling on their phone. They're looking at junk. They're nothing productive. They're not relieving any stress. They're only probably creating more stress because they're looking on TikToks and seeing how perfect somebody else's life is and how organized their fridge is and how organized their dresser is and how all this life is perfect. And then now they're just thinking how theirs isn't.
Yes.
And so now they've just created more stress opposed to, my thought is like, man, like what would change for all of these people in those cars if they just walked for these 30 to 40 minutes that they're sitting in their car, if they just all got out and just started walking laps because it was a sunny, perfect day, and how much better they would feel, and then where that would transfer over to everybody else in their family because now they feel better, they feel good about themselves, they had time to think, not just scroll, and actually put some thought into their day and life and organize their schedule and make everything make sense to where it, opposed to it just being chaos in there, they could actually think about it. Oh yeah, everything does fall into place. I got time to do this, and I get to go for my walk. There's my rant.
Well, and even you posted your video yesterday, like what would change if you started thinking differently about the what if I can versus I know.
What if I don't?
Yeah, right. And so I feel that is on a mom's mind a lot. That we spend more time thinking about our to-do list in such a negative way that we forget about all the things we get to do because we are so focused on check the box that we're forgetting just how great it would be to look at it from a different perspective. If you could make that shift, like what can I do?
Yeah.
How can I do it? And start asking those questions instead of just milling through the alarm clock goes off. I hit the floor. It's like, go, go, go. Everybody's out the door. Let's, and then I got to get them here. Oh, it's like, it's overwhelming. And that's where a lot of us are. I know it because I work with these women.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that's where they're at. And you know that.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention, you mentioned boundaries. And one thing, we just had a discussion, I think it was yesterday, and the boundaries that you set, we know where your boundaries are. And you and I were trying to work out a time to get some extra runs in.
Yep.
And we talked about Fridays. And I know that Fridays are kind of your sacred time, right?
It took a long time, but it's there.
It has.
It's happened.
And it might be the only time that works for us to run. But I preface that by saying we could do Fridays, but only if it works for you because it works great on my schedule, but I don't want to.
You don't want to make the boss mad.
Right.
That's right.
I get it.
But
we don't want to make him mad.
No, my point is you had set these boundaries and we've all come to, we all need to be that good at setting those parameters.
But again, that is going to take practice and work, and it starts with getting yourself to make yourself a priority, getting yourself on the calendar, and then figuring out what your boundaries are without making them make you feel guilty. We did a podcast about that last year about boundaries and like being able to make decisions without them making you feel guilty, like you feel good and positive about it.
Yeah. And, that's the hardest thing for, moms to understand because obviously that's just who we work with. That's who I work the most with is busy moms and their perspective on things and that guilt. But I know that when they take care of themselves, every one of these stories that we've done, the end result is not only do I feel better, but everybody else in my family is happier and doing better.
And when we work with a busy mom, when you work with a busy mom, when you work with a busy mom, and you ask them the question, what do they want? Do they look at you like, no one's asked me that in a long time. They haven't asked themselves that. But again, that's because the story in their head isn't asking those types of questions. It's not saying, what do you want? What would make you feel good? What could I do? Instead, it's this other narrative of time, too much to do. I'll take care of myself later. Like I've heard that one before. When my kids go to high school, my kids go to elementary school, my kids go to middle school, my kids go to school, then I'm going to start this. And I would like to offer that the best time to start is right now with what you can do and being okay with starting small and building from there.
Yeah. And not only for you, but because your kids are going to appreciate you so much more because you're taking care of yourself. Like, it's just going to happen. Everybody is going to be more respectful for you. They're going to respect your time once you create the boundaries. I mean, Tina, that'd probably be another example. Like, your kids, I can tell, are proud of you and the accomplishments that you've made.
Absolutely. That when you said that, I smiled because I agree with you so much. When your teenage son or teenage daughter are asking you for advice on foods they should eat to help them with their sports, and just knowing that this is how, that mom works out, or mom's going on a run, or my mom runs a marathon, like, that's pretty cool. I hear them might tell their friends, or even like my high school son's friends. Like, I'm just like, I wonder what they think, what they think about me. But it's like, it's pretty cool that I can tell that there's some pride there. And that is, that's an irreplaceable feeling, because the joke at my house is that mom's going to live forever. And they're like, what are we going to do when, what if mom's not here? But they're just like, no, mom's going to live forever. And it's cool because they see me take care of myself. And so that's just, it's a joke, but it makes me feel good that they looked for me to be around for a long, long time, because that's the ultimate goal in taking care of myself, is to be around for a long, 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 long time.
That's
awesome. And like, obviously exercise is a priority in our household, and there's times when Deanna's out running or she's at the gym and the kids ask, oh, where's mom? She's at the gym or she's running, and they don't ever ask, oh, okay. They just say, okay. Like, even at 4 and 6, if I just said she was other places, it takes more of an explanation. Oh, why is she there? Why is she doing this? Or, she's with friends. Oh, well, who's she with? There's more questions. But when I just say she's at the gym or she's running, oh, mom's running, mom's at the gym, and then we move on. Like, there is no other extra questions. That's what she does.
Yes.
They understand that that's part of her life and what she does, that it doesn't, and it happens so routinely that it's not a question or a debate.
And I will
say, that's what mom goes and does.
Yeah. I will say, when I started working out at Pulse in 2011, one of the reasons that it took me so long to, I don't know if it took me so long, but one of my biggest hangups was the guilt of leaving. Like, the guilt I felt. And like you were just saying, like, your kids don't feel that, the kids were fine.
Yeah.
And, luckily I had somebody also, Bill was also supporting me and saying, like, the kids are fine, you need to go. But there was still that part in me that was like, well, they need me. What if they need me? What if something happens? They're, we're younger or whatever. Like, but again, that was a story I was telling myself more as an excuse to maybe delay taking action versus being like, oh yeah, they're fine.
Yeah. Because they are.
Because they were.
Because us dads are pretty capable.
Because, yes, they are.
We're capable human beings, believe it or not.
Yes,
Sometimes.
I actually.
Don't ask us to do more than one thing at once, because the whole multitasking thing. But
leave us the kids. Oh, we can promise the kids will be fine. Everything else can't guarantee. Kids will come; they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, then that just comes down to like my personal issue of control.
Yeah. Whole nother subject.
That could be
whole nother podcast.
That's another story.
But I mean, I hope we've driven home the importance that, for all the moms out there, that it is so important, not just for you. I mean, yes, for you, but everybody else in your family is going to win. Everybody at your work is going to win. Everybody in your family is going to win. Anybody in your circle is going to win if you take care of yourself and make yourself a priority.
Yes, and if you've got a story spinning in your head about feeling incapable, not ready, not having enough time, guilty, that is what we all three of us help, you unpack and get out of that stuck feeling, so that you can take action and move forward and feel good, like Jeff said, and everybody around you will benefit, but mostly you.
Yeah, I would challenge any mom to come in here and present a case that us three would be like, oh yeah, you're right. You shouldn't take care of yourself. You win. You're whatever you just said. I can't even debate it. So I'm opening the door for anybody to come in and challenge that, and for us to be like, yeah, you're right. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't take care of yourself. I completely agree.
It's a good challenge. I like it.
So
We'll be here all afternoon. Come on in.
the door is open.